The entire market covering Ethereum, Bitcoin, and crypto in general is full of fear right now. Ethereum seeing lows that it hasn't really seen since this time last year. Are we about to see Ethereum and crypto plummeting even further? I don't think so. I'm going to show you all the reasons for that in today's video. Why I think 99% of the people talking about crypto right now are wrong. Now this is looking to Ethereum on the weekly. Now I want you to understand what this is kind of saying. All of this movement is obviously people buying and selling, but it's kind of like a language, right? The people who are controlling these moves are not necessarily individuals, right? The institutions are now bigger in the game because there's a lot more money involved. And if you look at the forex markets, they tend to move the opposite of the way everyone is thinking. And right now, if we think about how everyone's feeling, they're full of fear. But ultimately, the whole of the market is driven by two things, simply two things only, and that is supply and demand. And we have two zones here that we can see quite clearly. This one down here in the green is demand, where the price is lower. And then at the top, we have where the price is higher, which we're going to call supply. Pretty much how I trade, guys. This is on daily charts. I do trade on smaller time frames, but it pretty much does the same thing. It'll drop into an area where the big whales, etc., are prepared to buy, like this zone here, and it will go up into areas like this where they'll sell, because obviously the higher the price is, the less people are prepared to buy it and the more people are prepared to sell it. It's like anything in the world. If the apples at the shop were really expensive, then everyone would just go and buy oranges and no one wouldn't want apples anymore. If you had apples in your house and they were worth $100 an apple, you'd probably go out and start selling the apples. I hope that makes sense. I know it's very simplified. I'm just trying to make it so it's kind of easy to understand. And if I was to ask a kid right now, looking at this chart, where do they think Ethereum is going to go? Where do you think they're going to tell me? They're going to tell me that it's going to go like this. And that's because it's kind of like fairly obvious. But the reason it's not obvious and the reason we don't feel like that is because our brains tell us that we're going to have continuation towards the downside. There's so many kind of like things playing in our mind right now that are actually telling us that it's going to continue to go further towards the downside. And yeah, it might drop to something like $1,500, $1,600, but you're going to see this coming back. Right now, the downside versus the upside is very interesting indeed. I want to bring you across to a few other things. So jumping across now to the dollar index, the US dollar index. Basically, Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything is against the US dollar. When we see the US dollar going up on the daily, we saw Bitcoin doing complete opposite and going down. And it's pretty much done the same. This is when we saw Ethereum bottom out before. This is when we saw Ethereum top out before. It's pretty much following the same pattern, guys. Has broken back through this support line, which has been all the way back since 2016, and you can see that it's come underneath. And this is how pretty much I would like to trade, guys. This, as I've shown you, if I was to be trading the DXY, this would be my supply zone. What I'm looking for is it to get deep into the supply zone, fall out, come back and retest. Perfect retest here. For me, this is DXY, this is Bitcoin, this is Ethereum heading up back against the DXY. Now, I'm not saying that Ethereum couldn't possibly go like another $100, $200 lower than it is right now, but I'm pretty confident that Ethereum is not going to go to like $1,000 or less. Now, I could be wrong, not financial advice, go away and do your own research, but think about it from a very systematic, logical perspective without your emotions taking over, because the whole of the game is emotions, and emotions are getting the better of people because they're not necessarily thinking about what's happening. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and crypto in general has been associated or correlated with the S&P 500, which is the stock exchange. And that's basically, guys, what I'm seeing right now, where it's also seeming to have bottomed out, showing that this could be bottoming out just before we see Bitcoin, Ethereum bottoming out around a similar time. Now, in terms again of our supply and demand, I want to show you what's been happening on this chart and why, again, if I'm looking to trade Forex, then this is where I'm putting in my buy positions. That's because here we can see we had an accumulation zone. So what's happening here? What's happened, we had a big push towards the upside. You then have the banks, etc., wanting to get in at a better price. So they hold the price here for a while until they can fill their orders, and then they aggressively move. But always remember, they can't fill all their orders, so we wait for it to come back down and find a similar zone. Perfect. Once it finds this similar zone, we then are looking to buy. This is how I trade Forex all the time, guys, and it's pretty much looking exactly the same. This for me is a buy zone, showing that the S&P is heading higher, showing that crypto in general is going to be following the stock market. After this call off, guys, which is coming in pretty much a similar length of time to what we've seen in crypto, it's more than likely that we're going to continue towards the upside and we're going to see a big bounce happening in crypto. And I want to show you this because I've shown you this on this channel many times before. And if you haven't seen it before, probably because you're not watching my channel, and you should be watching my channel because unlike lots of other people, I'm not trying to tell you endless offers on Bybit and Fimix and whatever else, because you know, those guys seem to sort of say that they know what they're talking about and you should go and follow them and place trades, but actually they don't have a clue, but all they want you to do is place those trades so they can make some money out of you. But jumping into the Wall Street cheat sheet, guys, this is basically the behavior of the entire market. And you know, when we see at the top, we see people going, oh, you know, Ethereum's going to make me rich, Bitcoin's going to make me rich, etc. This is the euphoria phase, and you know, lo and behold, it blows off top. This is after everyone's talking about it and they get all their mates in, it brings all the money into the market, and then the big institutions dump it. And then on the other side of things, how people are feeling right now: capitulation, anger, into depression. But at the end of all this, guys, the cycle starts again. That's why it's called a cycle, because it goes round and round and round and just repeats itself. In this case, not round and round, but up and down. This way that it's repeating itself, going up and then down, means it has to go back up, guys, because everything that goes up goes down, and everything goes down comes up again. Feed on that fear, feed on the weakness of the market, right, guys? At the moment, the market is weak because people are full of fear, and that's what you need to be getting into. When the market's super strong, that's when you probably want to be a bit scared, because actually it's going to be coming down. So right now, also the story over here on Cointelegraph: Bitcoin long-term hodlers begin distribution, which preceded a Bitcoin price bottoms. So when you think about it, when the market's going up to the top, we see everyone diving into the market. Your mate down the road who you kind of talked to at the pub about this kind of stuff, and he thought, oh, I'm going to chuck in a few $100. He loses $100 overnight because the market dumps off the top. He panics, he sells the rest. Okay, those are the easy hands to shake out. You then go further down. The guys who've been in it for years, who maybe have bought Bitcoin at like $10,000, Bitcoin then drops to around $25,000. Now they're like, well, I kind of, you know, thought I'd be rich by now, and they start to take their money out. This indicates that there's much more volume coming into the market. Remember what I talked about, supply and demand. When the demand happens, they need to be able to increase the supply. So they do that through creating this fear about what's happening in the market. Through news, through kind of charts, moving the markets at the bottoms, etc. Getting people to sell up, and then the big money is going to come in and start to take hold of that money. That's why this indicates usually that we're at the bottom. Draw your attention to here. The pair managed to revive to near 31,000 to the previous day, but the last Wall Street trading session of the week put paid to the bulls' efforts. The Wall Street trading session, the Wall Streeters are trying to push that down. They're trying to get more and more fear into the markets. The whole market is driven by institutional investments because they're the ones with the money, guys. There are obviously individuals with a bit of money that can move the markets. There's obviously the Elon Musk, etc. out there who can say things and shake everyone out the markets. But it's stuff like this that's getting me excited, because this indicates to me that the bottom is either in or possibly in very soon. I'm not talking about short-term trading this right now. I'm saying that realistically, in terms of a drop, you could see a 10-15% move down, but the upside is insane, in my opinion. So look into this, guys. You can see all of these people, you know, 22, 24,000. People talking about it going lower and lower because they've all got bids sat there. They want to push markets lower because as soon as it gets down, it hits their wicks, they're up into the money. Everyone wants the price to squeeze lower and lower right now because they can buy it. They know it's going to be worth more in the future, so why not get it as cheap as possible? Whereas if you're holding it and you're panicking about selling, personally, I'm not selling. Why wouldn't I have sold a few weeks ago when I could possibly sell now? Guys, I hope you've enjoyed that slightly different kind of realistic Sunday update on crypto and what I think is going on in the market right now and why I think most people are probably wrong. So obviously not financial advice. Go away and do your own research. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, The House Crypto, and if you enjoyed that video, then please smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.